So welcome back to another Gibbs adventure, and today we are cutting up our moose that we harvested. So traditionally in the north we like the moose hunt, and because today it's harder to get a tag, there's less and less butchers around, so we've had to adapt and learn how to cut our own moose. So I'm grinding and Kenny's wrapping steaks. And roast. Gonna make a bit of noise here. Our grinder's not really big enough. We should have a bit bigger grinder, but it's gonna have to do. I'm putting the hamburger in 2-pound bags and 1-pound bags. That's 2 pounds, that's 1 pound.
So here we got Riley Beamish and Shane Savare, and we have the other quarters of the moose hanging. At one point there used to be quite a few people that cut moose, and seems like not as many people cut moose anymore, so we've got to the point where we have to do our own. My son Riley here, he enjoys going through the whole process, so we're just learning how to do it and learning as we go.
It's a backstrap steak.
There you go. So the whole process of cutting up the moose is probably going to take us like at least 7 or 8 hours. So it is a big endeavor if you do choose, and make sure you have enough people to help you out. If you look at Shane down there, Shane is just cutting the suet off of the hamburger so that your hamburger isn't so tough. And then you just seen Jimmy, and Jimmy was grinding it up into hamburger. So that's the process here.
So the bull that we harvested this year was a mature bull, was roughly a 53-inch rack. The hind quarters weighed 155 and 155, and the front quarters weighed 2 and 205. In a moose, there's probably 1/3 is body cavity weight, 1/3 is hide and bones, and 1/3 is meat. So 1,000-pound meat, or 1,000-pound moose will give you probably like 1/3 of that, so probably 350 pounds of meat. And then half of that is going to be hamburger. That's what I'm making right now. Lots of the moose has a lot of hamburger, but we use the hamburgers and everything. We make moose hamburgers, we make moose meat pies, we make spaghetti sauce with the meat sauce with it, you know. So there's all kinds of ways that we use up the hamburger. And the steaks, well, there's probably nothing more leaner in the world than moose steak. There's hardly any fat on a moose. And a lot of times if you're gonna make, like sometimes we make pepperettes out of the moose, which is a real favorite for us, but we have to cut it with pork because it's so dry. There's not enough fat in the moose meat, so we always cut in, if you use 20 pounds of moose hamburger, you put in 20 pounds of pork, and then away you go. That's what you make out of it. So all kinds of different little ways that we eat moose and that. For us, it's always, how long we've been doing this, Kenny?
Over 30 years anyways, but
Oh, more than that.
not cutting them up, but hunting them.
Hunting them,
anyways.
like we've been hunting moose, Kenny and I, since we were 16, probably 15, 16.
So we're learning at 64 and 65 how to cut a moose now.
But it's changing, because at one time you could just buy a license and go moose hunting, and then they started with an adult system where you had to get a tag, and they had allowed party hunting, so we were able to adapt to that. And now they give a tag to an individual person. We're still allowed to party hunt, but it's harder and harder for people to get tags. So the biggest problem is that everybody likes to moose hunt, and there's only a limited resource. There's only so many moose out there to be able to harvest, so you have to be conscientious of that. So this year we had an adult bull tag, and it was actually Mom's, Casey, show Mom. She was the queen of the camp. She doesn't really like getting up at 5 o'clock with us grouchy old men, but she did it like a real trooper. And we were lucky, we got a nice big bull, and so that we'll share this. And that's another big thing is moose hunting is not, for us, it's not one person gets a moose. We harvest a moose, we only look to get one tag. We're always 6 or 7 guys on the hunt, and ladies, and we always share it. So even everybody will get a portion, and then that'll get shared out even further from that with other people. So it's not like we have to eat moose to survive, but it's all part of our northern culture here in northern Canada, like that. Moose hunting is, like I said, Kenny and I have been doing it since we've been 16. So that's a little bit about moose hunting. So we've been grinding and cutting all day. Last quarter, the boys are still hard at her. Filet mignon? Right on.
That's what it's all for right there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, different boxes. Get it all frozen, and then we'll split it up with the guys. Did most of the hamburger in 2-pound bags, and then we did some up for one of our guys from 1-pound bags. So, getting close to the end. Thank frickin' God.